Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. We're so excited for this. This is our favorite. Do you feel the energy in the room? It really helps us make good decisions as a council when there's this much energy in the room. I'm Jen Daniels. I'm the mayor of Gilbert. We have our vice mayor, Scott Anderson. Awesome. We have council members Taylor, Cook, Peterson, Yentes, and Ray. And most importantly, we have all of our student citizens of the month. If you are our students, will you please stand so we can recognize you? All right. Everybody's dressed up and they combed their hair. We won't be checking to see if you brushed your teeth, but thanks for doing all the other stuff. We're super grateful. We love doing this in the town. You guys can sit for a few more minutes. We love doing this especially for the opportunity to recognize all of the teachers who make the world amazing in Gilbert and to all of the staff members who work in our schools. So will our teachers and staff members and principals and school administrators stand so we can recognize you? Or wave, because I know some of them are still standing. It's a Tuesday night. I don't think they're on the clock right now. So the fact they showed up for you is pretty amazing. And I'm sure the ones that weren't able to come tonight still love you all a lot because they work with you every day, and that's awesome. Can I get one helper? I think you look like a good helper. Will you help me? Come here. Awesome. Thanks for coming. Okay. Are you a sister of somebody who's getting an award? I think she said yes. Is that right? Okay. No, she's not a sister. A cousin? A niece. Okay, even better. I love big families. That's awesome. Okay, what's your name?
Gianna.
Gianna, that's a beautiful name. Thank you so much. Thank you for being my helper today. You get to do something kind of cool. So all of the teachers that spent their time to fill out a Student Citizen of the Month award, it takes time. And they sacrificed time to do that. We have all the names of the teachers who took their time to do that in this bucket. So come on, Vice Mayor. All right, will you pick one? Thank you. Okay, yeah, open that up. Let's see what we got. Okay, so this teacher is going to win a $100 gift card to Culinary Dropout, donated by Culinary Dropout. So I know, I want it too. Are you ready to tell us? How's your reading? You want me to help you read that, or you got it? Help you?
Mrs. Kelly. From my Pioneer Elementary.
Awesome. Is Mrs. Kelly here? Okay, we'll make sure Mrs. Kelly gets it. Hey, you're awesome. Thanks for helping me. Can I have that? And I'll make sure Mrs. Kelly gets it. And I'll tell her that you picked it for her. Okay. Thanks. All right, we want to... Are you helping me? Thank you. All right, we do this in 3 groups and pretty organized. We have the magic Valerie over here. She takes pictures for us, and that's just one of the 189 things she does every day. So Valerie, thank you so much, and she will come and take the pictures for us. We do this in 3 groups. The first group is our elementary school students from letters A to J. It's actually A to I. So it's Ashland Ranch Elementary all the way to Islands Elementary. If you're our Student Citizen of the Month and that's one of your schools, then come on down here with Councilmember Ray. Oh, yeah. So this area right here for parents and grandparents and brothers and sisters, this is the best spot to take a picture. Valerie's going to take them, and we're going to post them on our Flickr and Facebook accounts later tonight, so you have access to those. But if you want to take another one, this is a good area. And I think that's
Charlotte
it.
Patterson.
So that's
Come on down. You ready?
Ready. Okay. From Ashland Ranch Elementary, Tyler Robinson. From Bridges Elementary, Carlin Finlinson. Yeah. Nice smile. From Burke Elementary, Branlin Acey. Carol Ray Ranch Elementary, Caitlin Anderson. From Chaparral Elementary, Kylie Beverly. Okay. From Charlotte Patterson Elementary, Sydney Duthler. From Eduprise School, Easton Johnson. From Gateway Point Elementary, Aveline Forgone. From Gateway Point Elementary, Daisy Zamudio. From Gilbert Elementary, Zoe Cuevas. From Higley Traditional Academy, Cora Miller. From Houston Elementary, Valu Peya.
I think group one was pro. They were pros. They act like they get an award every week. So that was awesome. Our next group is group two. So all of the rest of our elementary school students. We also know it's a school night. So if anybody wants to leave after their child gets an award, don't feel bad about doing that. And we'll do a little switch with chairs because that opens up some seats too. So thank you all for coming. For those of you that are leaving, and have a great night.
You good? Okay, group two, Mesquite Elementary, Paisley Powers. No Paisley. Paisley Powers from Mesquite Elementary. No Paisley. From Oak Tree Elementary, Win Hinks. Is it Winnie? Winnie. Okay, Winnie. Well, yeah. From Patterson Elementary, Adriana Boothby. From Pioneer Elementary, Samuel Lopez. From Playa del Rey Elementary, Audrey Hennigan. From Quartz Hill Elementary, Tyler Moyes. Moyes?
Did we say his name correctly?
Is it Moyes? Moyes? We got it. From Riggs Elementary, Lillian Holt. From Santan Elementary, Katie Knight. From Settlers Point Elementary, Aiden Holman. From Spectrum Elementary, Stella Daniels. Stella? Here's our challenge for tonight. From Town Meadows Elementary, Brendan Vitkovosky.
Good job. It's Kivitovsky.
Kivitowski?
Kivitovsky.
Kivitowski.
Good job. Thank you.
Good job, Brendan. Val Vista Lakes Elementary, Lily Espinoza. Also from Val Vista Lakes Elementary, Peyton Thompson.
Right. Our third and final group is all of our junior high and high school students. Come on down.
Okay. From Campo Verde High School, Noah Wasserbeck. From Canyon Valley High School, Abraham Siriaco. Oh. From Canyon Valley High School, Sierra Wilkinson. Sierra? Who's Sierra? Yeah. From Cooley Middle School, Hannah Smith. From Gilbert Classical Academy, Christopher Ammerman. Christopher. Hey, it's spelled Christopher. Yeah. I'm all about phonetics. Yeah. Gilbert High School, Raisha Dallas Williams. From Greenfield Junior High, Alexis Reynolds. From Higley High School, Zoe White. I got that right, didn't I? Did you get it right? I got that right. From Payne Junior High, Alyssa Villa. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I wandered off.
From Perry High School, Amelia Ochoa. From Sossaman Middle School, Brian DeLue. Great. Also from Sossaman Middle School, Haley Ritchie. No Haley? From South Valley Junior High, Charles Switzer. Schweitzer. Excuse me.
Man, you're already, look at that, you see, you get a view. You get the whole year to get a view. First of all, I'm glad they even greet you.
All right. Thank you all for coming. We'll start the business of our council meeting in about 2 minutes. Thanks.
I'm Mark Fawcett. I was trying to ask you, are your legs bothering you? No, do they look like they're bothering you? No, but you were so much lower. The sun was killed through the other. I know, my hair might be too and everything.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. Well, you've been a great ad, so we're going to keep you as long as we can.
Well, I got working on a committee. Oh, just January, February.
I'll take it all. Things going on. Yes, so many. All right, if we can have our council join us on the dais, we can start our meeting.
want to stand up here with her so she's not nervous?
All right, we'd like to welcome you to the business portion of our council meeting. We've already completed our Student Citizen of the Month Award ceremony, which was awesome as usual. Grateful for all those kids and their teachers. And turn it over to Councilmember Anderson for the Scouts
Slash.
great
you, Mayor.
other youth members.
I'm going to have Chloe introduce herself, and then we'll have her give us the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'm Chloe Yentes.
I'm Chloe Yentes.
Join me in the pledge.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here's your copy of the Constitution. Thank you, Chloe.
We'd like to invite Dr. Dan Mooney, the pastor of Elliott Road Baptist Church, to the podium tonight to offer our invocation. Thank you for being here, Pastor Mooney.
Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, we are grateful that we have the privilege of living in a free nation. We are grateful that we have those who are willing to fill positions that are responsible and accountable. Thank you that they're willing to consider the business of our town. We ask that you would grant your wisdom to them as they do so, and we ask your blessing on this meeting. In Christ's name, amen.
Thank you. At this time, the clerk will conduct the roll call.
Mayor Jen Daniels.
Here.
Vice Mayor Scott Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Eddie Cook.
Here.
Councilmember Bridget Peterson.
Here.
Councilmember Jordan Ray.
Here.
Councilmember Jared Taylor.
Here.
Councilmember Amy Yentis.
Here.
The quorum is present.
Thank you. Vice Mayor, will you assist with the consent agenda? I know we have several items that have been changed.
Any requests to pull any items? If any of the council members have any items that they wanted to pull? On the consent agenda,
Mayor, there is a communication from a citizen who would like to speak.
yes, there is. Thank you, Patrick. That helps me catch up on the consent agenda. Yes, we've received a request to speak by Christina Curso. Christine, if you state your name and place of residence, and then we'll set the clock for 3 minutes.
Very good. Good
Thank
evening,
you.
Mayor, members of the council. This evening, I just wanted to come down with my son, Anthony, and I know we'll start off the comments, and you all can end them, it looks like, with the agenda, to thank Councilman Eddie Cook for all of his amazing service on our council. I think you're one of the first people we met in Gilbert, and 2011 was a long time ago, and our town has grown a lot. We've all grown a lot, and it's been a real gift to have you on this council. And professionally, I've worked with a lot of women in crisis, and I have to tell you that you're one of the nuggets that we'll take away, the Accurso family will take away, is your constant being able to raise awareness for domestic violence of women. And that awareness in the whole East Valley has really been highlighted a lot. And even recently, when I knew a woman in crisis, she knew 6 places that she could call. That wouldn't have happened in 2011. 2011, it would be a very different picture. And so I think you're a part of that puzzle. So our family is very grateful for your service, as well as many members of the community. So I just wanted to start off by saying publicly, thank you for your public service.
Can we try the consent agenda again?
Ready.
Let's see, item 1 on the consent agenda has been removed from the agenda. Would make a motion that we approve item 2. Item 3 still on the agenda. Item 3 is removed from the agenda. Item 4, item 5, item 6, item 7, 8, item 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second? Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. That motion carries with a 7-0 vote. Thank you. That moves us to our public hearing agenda items. We have agenda items 17 through 20. Are there any requests from the council to speak on those public hearing items? All right, seeing none, I'm just going to review real quick. All right, I will open the public hearing on agenda items 17, 18, and 20. I will close the public hearing on those agenda items and entertain a motion.
Move to approve, Mayor.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. That motion carries with a 7-0 vote. Thank you. I will open the public hearing on agenda item 19 and look to Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 2 request to speak cards, but the individuals have requested not to speak. First is Melissa Perry, who lives at 3535 South 158th Place. She's marked against, very concerned about the high-density living, excess traffic, and already overcrowded elementary and high school directly across the street. Also on item 19, Dana Remfrey, who is also marked against, does not wish to speak. I am a concerned citizen worried about the effect of more apartments in my town. Campo Verde already is crowded. Traffic is increased. We don't have infrastructure for more people on our roads.
Thank you. We've registered 2 of those as part of the public comment. I will just add mine before I close the public hearing. I certainly appreciate the quality of the project that's being brought to Gilbert, but this location is not one that I've been supportive of. The transition from regional commercial to multifamily, just recognizing the corridor that we're in and some of the things yet to come and to be realized in this area. So I'm not ready to vote in favor of a transition of zoning on this particular property, and just thought I would mention that before we vote. Are there any other comments from council, or we can enter? I will close the public hearing and we can entertain a motion. All right. Is there a motion? Close the public hearing.
Mayor, I move that we approve agenda item 19A and B as published in the public documents.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. That motion carries with a 5-2 vote. Thank you. All right, that completes our public hearing items and moves us to administrative items. Agenda item 21. Is there a motion to accept the budget report and contingency report for second
moved.
quarter?
So
Second.
moved.
Motion and a second. Please vote. All right, that motion carries with a 7-0 vote. Thank you. All right, we do have some additional items that were added. And so I will actually ask Councilmember Cook, this might be an appropriate time for us to discuss council item 22A. I know you'd like to say a few things.
Well, how do I start this? First of all, the agenda item is a letter of my resignation on the council. And I would like to ask each of you to consider approving that resignation, only because I was appointed on Friday to take on a greater role and a greater capacity here in Maricopa County, and was appointed on Friday the new county assessor for Maricopa County. I cannot do that role unless my fine colleagues here accept my resignation. it would be a constitutional conflict. And so anyways, I just ask that you consider that.
I don't think I realized till just this moment that we had more control over this process than I thought we did.
Now, I can explain, and give you the business case of why I need to move on, but I do want to say a couple things. It has been a very great honor and privilege to serve our community. I remember when I met, at the time, candidate Daniels during that race back in 2008, and it was the beginning of a journey that I didn't believe that I was going to be on. And that journey has brought myself, my wife, and kids. I started out with 5 kids at home. That now I have 1 at home, and have 3 grandkids. So it's been a long time. But that journey led to a life in the public square that I just cannot say how thankful it has been for me to serve. And I've lived in Gilbert with my wife since 1986, when Gilbert was 12,000 residents, and now we're pushing close to 260,000 residents. And Mayor Daniels, I don't even know if you were even born back then, but it has brought a journey in public service that I didn't think I would ever do. Wasn't part of my short-term or long-term goals in life, and I know that God does give us journeys that we may not think that was part of our plans. And again, all the things that I do and say to many people is that I'm grateful for God's blessing on me and my family, and then all that I do in my life is really to give Him glory and praise. And I couldn't. All I can think about was, I don't have to be successful. I just need to be faithful, and that was really the goal. Was just to be faithful to the call to public service. And I know that it's just been a fantastic journey. The one thing that I will say that was probably the greatest vote that I think Mayor Daniels and at the time Councilmember Ray was when we was looking for a new leader in the town of Gilbert, and that was Patrick Banger. In fact, I remember when I won the election in the primary, I remember meeting with Mayor Lewis, and I said to him, you can't pick the new town manager. You got to wait till the election process is complete, because there's going to be a change. There is a momentum that's going to happen in our community, and Mayor Lewis, and then at the time Councilmember Daniels, I said, you've got to figure out how to hold off, and he did. And I remembered after being sworn in, getting a hold of 60 applications or 60 resumes of a stack. And I remember taking them all home, and I went through them for several nights. And I would look at one, and I would put it on a pile. And I would look at another one, I would put it on a pile. And they all sounded the same, and they all looked the same. But there was this one resume that I put off on itself, by itself. And I said to myself, I can't wait to meet this individual. And so we went through the interview process, and that individual was just stellar. And I think with the new council at the time, looking at returning the organization back to a financial health, implementing what I would call corporate best business practices. I always talk about and brag about how we were able as a team to transform local government to run like a billion-dollar corporation. And Patrick had that background, that experience, and he has flawlessly executed on so many things that was part of our vision and our direction, back in 2011. And that to me was probably the greatest vote that I could think of for our community. And when we talk about a one-team culture, I know when Patrick was on board, we talked about there were 5 or 6 different teams in the organization. And then over time, we had the privilege of really unifying the organization, applying these wonderful corporate best business practices. And now, it's just been fantastic. I always tell Jenny that when I'm camping or fishing somewhere, and I start to write my 3 books, one of them is going to be this journey, because it's just one of these wonderful journeys for me and all that. The things I'm going to miss, and thank you, Christine, for sharing. The domestic violence was an area in my life where it was uncomfortable. It was not something that the Cook family ever experienced. And I know when we did that needs assessment, 5 or 6 years ago, I know Mayor Lewis and I chatted about the 2 areas of focus, and I said, I feel called to support those families that are hurting. And that really changed, how we as a team, addressed, those families in need. And the Endeavor program has been really an opportunity to heal and make the family whole. And as Mayor Daniels and I talk about, one of the main things that we do as a council, as a team here in Gilbert, is about building community. And that was part of that vision that we've done. Yeah, I could go on through a whole bunch of different things. I'll miss the water part of the business. I feel like I've learned so much about water in the state of Arizona, and and the need for that. And there's just been so many wonderful things that I could share. But there are a couple things that we need to move forward with. And the intelligent traffic management, that I've been beating up the staff in that area, that we're that's something that you guys will have to carry in the vision as the future of the city. City of the future is, again, an intelligent, dynamic traffic management system. That is really kind of one of the most important things in Gilbert. You got to build a bridge. That bridge down by the park has to happen. So I look forward to that someday, crossing that bridge. I know for back to domestic violence, Chief Solberg is hopefully going to carry on our FAC, our Family Advocacy Center. I mean, that's obviously an important aspect of that as well. But anyways, this has been a great joy, a lot of fun, and thank you for allowing me to do this.
I think I saw Councilmember Taylor wanted to offer.
Yeah, there's a couple of reasons why I want to vote no against this, Eddie. Well, one of them is because, and Mayor, you and I would grin on this, was we would, every now and then we'd hear, "ah." And Eddie loves the children in this town, and he loves the families, and it was just fun to hear that come out. Another reason is because we're going to miss the show and tell, right? Remember on the gun one, he had the big gun case. We didn't know, was there a gun in there or not? With the big rifle. And the lawnmower seat, remember that one? I'm going to miss, if I vote yes, he loves his wife, and he would always give Jenny a big bouquet of roses for this and that. He just looks for excuses to give his wife flowers, and I'm going to miss that. But here's the biggest reason why we need to consider voting no. And you all know this, right? The sign bomb. If he runs for assessor, we're going to see it all over the county. And I don't know, Paul, if that was your move or not, but Paul Brierley's here. We miss him. He was here in Gilbert for many, many years, now in Yuma. But anyways, Eddie, we wish you well, and we're going to miss all those fun things except maybe the sign bomb, but I'm sure we'll still see it. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, before everybody else speaks, let's do the motion first, lest we derail. And,
Yeah, you need to let me go.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
well,
We
our
probably should
next
do this in
agenda
order.
item is a resolution of appreciation. So we're not done with you yet, I guess is the point. Is there a motion on agenda item 22A?
Mayor, I will begrudgingly make the motion to accept the resignation of Councilmember Eddie Cook.
Is there a second?
I guess second.
All right. Motion and a second. Please vote. That motion carries with a 6-1 vote.
My argument prevailed with Councilmember Ray.
What's up with that?
Great.
Doesn't
Now
want
we
the
have a
signs.
headline.
What's up with
Thank
that?
you.
So I promised Eddie years ago that when he jumped ship to go to the next thing, I was going to vote no on it. And as a man of my word, I had to stick with it. I warned him earlier, Eddie, I'm voting no tonight. And
Yeah.
so
I appreciate
here we
that.
are.
That's funny.
Thank you.
Now's a great opportunity, I think, for each of us to say a few things about Eddie, roast him or whatever, whatnot.
Sure. So I've known Eddie for 10 plus years. We met as we were both crazy enough to want to run for this council seat. And I remember standing in the back of a hallway and we shook hands and we said, let's do this together. And that was 3 campaigns ago. In fact, we've been on the council so long. When I first met Eddie, he had a full head of hair. Now he has a full head of cowboy hat. But it has been a real privilege to serve with him. He's taught us many things. I thought Jared said it well about talking about his wife. It only took me 3 swearing-ins to remember to bring my wife flowers. And Eddie showed us up each of the first 2 times. But Eddie and I didn't agree on every single vote, and he hasn't agreed with every single member of the community. But I will say on his behalf, and this will go for every council member, even if you don't agree with Eddie, everything that he did, he thought was what was best for Gilbert. And he loves Gilbert. He loves the people of Gilbert, and always voted that way. And so I appreciated that part of Eddie. And most importantly, I don't think she's even here, but I would say thank you to Jenny for putting up with this for 10 years now. She's done an amazing job. And so to the entire Cook family, mostly to Jenny, thank you for your service to the town of Gilbert. We appreciate it, and we're a better community because of Eddie's last 10 years.
Well, I might be new up here, only for a year, but that doesn't mean I haven't known you for a long time as well, and remembered when you first ran as well. And I'll say 2 things I very much appreciate about Councilmember, soon-to-be Assessor Cook, is your position right when you just started running. You helped with a campaign to defeat a sales tax increase. And when it was all back in homemade signs and, nothing fancy, but it did the job. And you were instrumental in that fight. So, and I also appreciate, even though there's a lot of mixed reviews on this one, this is something we definitely agree on, is the reduction of the bed tax. So Eddie does have a pretty good record when it comes to saving taxpayers money and giving them back in tax cuts. So we'll miss you, but you'll do a great job as assessor.
I'm probably one of the few people who've had the opportunity to meet with both sides of this dais during your time on the council. And I've always known that Councilmember Cook was a man of integrity, and when he gave you his word on something, he meant that he would follow through with that, and I appreciate that. I'll let Bridget talk about the Jeep Club and his Jeeps. And I'm really impressed with all the adventures he comes back and tells us about in his Jeep adventures. But we'll miss you a lot and wish you well in your further endeavors.
So I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact that Councilmember Cook asked if we could have a club in the town under the Gilbert Wellness Program, and started the first 4-wheeling club here in Gilbert, and happened to have our first meeting on a Wednesday, which happens to be my husband's work from home day. So he came down, and the 2 of them jumped right in, got the club going. It's been going for over 2 years now, and it's an amazing group of employees and past employees that wouldn't typically get to work together on a regular basis, but now get to have fun together out on the trails. And it's not always taking their own Jeep out. Sometimes they come and ride along with someone else. Sometimes they just go to have the fun and the camaraderie of being part of this group. It's been an amazing, amazing group. And we set it up wisely, I shall say, to be present and past employees of the town, which means that Councilmember Cook can stay a member of the four-wheeling club, the TOG four-wheeling club, they have a trip on Saturday. And because of that, I think I've gotten to know you in a completely different way, really. I couldn't remember when I first met you. It was before I ran in 2014, probably when I came into apply and be interviewed for a position on the Planning Commission at some point, and you would have been sitting down for the executive session, so it probably was 2012, 2013. And then I remember running in 2014 and reaching out to the members of the council, and you very willingly met me, and we had breakfast and chatted about what it would be like, and then of course ran in 2014 and 2018 on the same cycle. But I really, I treasure the times with the four-wheeling club, because I think we have had an opportunity to get to know each other in a completely different way. And like I said online, you will do a great job, not only as assessor, but for all of the people in Maricopa County. So congratulations.
I think I knew this day would sometime come. I just thought I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, because I was going to outlast you.
I'll never forget the first time we did a parade. I think it was for the Martin Luther King parade that Mesa hosts every year, and you showed up with a hoverboard. And nobody cared what the rest of us were doing or why we were there, because there was a cool guy on a hoverboard, and handed out candy. And I think you've used that hoverboard and probably had to get a couple new ones running out those batteries. But Eddie definitely has a fun side to him that I don't think a lot of people get to see. He was part of a band and had really long hair, and he was also the coach of a paintball team that won like national championships. And he's like a man of hobbies and interests, and has always made time for that, in addition to being completely devoted to his family and his faith and to this community. And so I'm grateful for the incredible example he's been in all of those areas. Eddie really was the individual who brought the one team culture ideas to the community. And from the time that he got started on council, he was very vocal about the fact that we all needed to be moving in a unified direction. And he's been one of those unifying forces for us as a council. And I'm grateful for that influence that you've had. I think that stretches far beyond even where you know. And also, one of the things others may not realize is how well known and respected Eddie is throughout the entire region, both for his work on domestic violence with the MAG Domestic Violence Council, as well as the MAG Economic Development Committee, and most recently in his role as the chair of the Arizona Municipal Water Users Association, and the commitment that he's made to that organization over many, many years, and just has an ability to dig into numbers and ideas and bring solutions to the table. And I admire you so much for those skills that you have. You've also done this all while maintaining a full-time job and have been successful in that area. And I just know that your family absolutely adores you. It's obvious in so many ways, although Jenny did tell me one time about the hat that if you started wearing boots, it was over. And I just looked down and he's wearing boots. So I'm not gonna tell on you, but in case she's watching, I should let her know. Eddie, I've just really appreciated you, and particularly your friendship. Your heart is golden. I got the privilege to write a letter of recommendation as he was looking to perhaps apply to be the county assessor. And it was so easy to write the letter, because I could very easily tell with total confidence the County Board of Supervisors that Eddie is a man of integrity, and that he is a man that will serve the people of the county just as well as he served the people of Gilbert. So thank you. We do have a few gifts for you. This sort of came up a little bit fast, so we have to give you one of the gifts and then take it back, and then we'll give it to you again. We didn't have time to get the right engraving done on the gift, but we have the gift, and we want to personalize it. And so that's my caveat. You can open it, but we're going to take it back. So I have a proclamation. Maybe it's okay if all of us go down. Is that all right? And then we can get a photo as well. We do have an official resolution to enter into the record, and that is that whereas Eddie Cook has served as a council member since June 14th, 2011, including serving as vice mayor during his tenure, and whereas Eddie Cook has served with honor and distinction throughout his tenure, whereas his influence has always been exercised with utmost concern that the cares and concerns of stakeholders were carefully considered before a decision was reached, and whereas Eddie Cook served as council liaison to numerous boards and commissions, providing a crucial link between citizen advisory boards and the council. And whereas he has worked to preserve our precious water resources, not only in Gilbert, but in Arizona as well, including serving as president of the Arizona Municipal Water Users Association. And whereas Eddie Cook has advocated for the revitalization of the Heritage District, which is shaping the historic, symbolic center and heart of the community with redevelopment, planning, with business attraction, retention, and expansion efforts. And whereas he has carried out the duties of public office, honoring the public trust, and representing the citizens of Gilbert with integrity and courageous leadership. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town council, on behalf of the citizens of the town of Gilbert, hereby express sincere appreciation to Eddie Cook for his service to the town as a member of the council. And this is done this day, the 18th day of February, 2020. We have cake too, but we're saving that for the end. All right, that moves us to agenda item 22C, and I know there's a lot of people here specifically for this agenda item. And we do have a potential plan that the council will discuss at this time. I'm looking for Valerie. Oh, Valerie's got the cake. If we can we put this on the Elmo? You bring a copy.
Can I just say, Mayor, that Eddie looks really comfortable down there.
It's temporary. He has to go do a really hard job starting tomorrow, I think. So, okay. Here is what we've outlined. I think you all have copies. Hey, you were supposed to have copies, so sorry. I apologize. We will make sure there are lots of copies available for when you leave today. So what we'd like to do is open this up fairly quickly, and I'll read the timeline now while she's accessing that document. Beginning February 20th, we would advertise and open the application period. The clerk's office is prepared for that to start tomorrow. We will keep that application open for 2 weeks, and it will close March 4th at 4 p.m. I realize that sounds like a little bit of an arbitrary time, but we need to give the clerk's office time to compile the names so that as a council, we can rank all of those names at by the next day, March 5th. Here we come. It helps probably to see it while we're doing it. Thank you, Valerie. Please. This is a similar application process to the ones that we've used in years past when we've had a vacancy on the council. On March 5th in the evening at 5:30, our council will have an executive session to review the candidates and select the interviewees. And what we generally do is rank the applications, so all of the council will have an opportunity to do that, and then we will go into executive session to have a conversation about who we will interview. We will have that followed by a special council meeting that night where we will announce who we plan to interview. Following that up on March 17th, we realize that's St. Patrick's Day, so sorry if anybody had big plans. We're just on a little bit of a tight time frame. But we will have a special council meeting where there will be interviews of our 6 candidates, and those interviews will be conducted as follows. There will be 6 questions that you will have access to prior to. The council will submit those questions to me, and we will narrow those down so that we can make sure we have a broad range of information. Those interviews will be done in public, which means that here at the dais or here at the podium, that is where the interviewee will stand and the council will ask questions, all same questions, and each individual will be brought to the room, and we ask that there be no electronic devices for the candidates or the interviewees that night. What's a little tricky about this is that Councilmember Cook's resignation is effective as of tonight, which means that because it's more than 30 days ahead of the next election, his seat will now be part of our election. What that means is that if someone intends to run to fulfill the remainder of Councilmember Cook's seat, which will be January of 2021 until January of 2023, they will need to collect the necessary signatures to get on the ballot by the deadline, which is April 6th. And that will be for a 2-year time frame. So no one who has currently collected signatures would be eligible for that particular time frame because they've been collecting for the 4-year terms. This is now essentially a 2-year term. I hope that makes sense.
Mayor?
Yes.
Those are statute requirements. That's not something that the council is just deciding on numbers, correct?
Right. Okay. The rest of the information is in this document as far as the application. It's fairly simple and straightforward, not a lot of hard questions to answer. We're shortening up this time frame and shortening up that process as well. But I think now would be a good time for us as a council to discuss if there's anything we want to change or adapt in this process. I know Councilmember Ray, you had some thoughts.
So a couple of questions. I'll speak until the attorney tells me to stop because I've passed what I'm allowed to say. But in the past, we have given preference or taken away preference based on certain things. For example, if they were a current candidate for a position, we did not look at that. We didn't allow that, essentially. So as a council, I would love to give some direction to potential people who are hoping to get appointed, that if there's certain groups that we don't want for whatever reason, we tell that as soon as possible so as to not waste their time, essentially. So if we don't want current candidates to apply, or if we do want current candidates to apply, I'd love to give as much feedback as we can to the general public so that there's not people wasting time down the road. And just one of my concerns with having the current candidates apply, obviously Eddie Cook's spot's a little bit interesting. There's rumors on this council of other council members who will be resigning in the next month or two. And so one of my concerns is if we were to appoint the current candidates for those open positions come August and November, there'll be no candidates out there. And so we'll have an open seat where Councilman Taylor has decided not to run again, and there'll be no candidates on the ballot for that spot if they're appointed. So I would love to hear other people's thoughts, but I'm inclined to say not to appoint people who are currently running. But I would love some other thoughts and ideas from the council on that.
I think legally, we cannot tell anyone not to apply. So anyone
Fair
is
enough.
welcome,
Sure.
welcome to apply. If we have a specific intent,
Right, that's my point.
I do
yeah.
think that's a good idea to let the public know.
Mayor, I agree with Councilmember Ray, and I was trying to think back to when we actually replaced your seat for 6 months, and we were in the middle of an election cycle, and I didn't think we allowed candidates at that point. So we might need to clarify that if we're not allowed to disallow specific groups, or
The one exception I think that we might make is the nuanced issue with Councilmember Cook's seat, and I'll explain. That's potentially a 9.5 month appointment and a very short time frame to get signatures. So I would like to see an individual who may have a desire to run for that shortened seat notify us through the process if they become one of the interviewees, that we have an understanding of that they do have an intention to run for that 2-year term. I would like to see that happen because it is such a tightened and condensed. The only other option there for collecting signatures is a potential write-in candidate. And maybe, Lisa, you can speak to that because there are some requirements for write-in candidates as well.
So if there's not somebody that turns in petitions by the April 6th deadline, then it could go to a write-in candidate. And they still have to turn in a nomination paper, and they turn in their financial disclosure. And write-in candidates, they can put up signs. It'll be posted at polling places that they are write-in candidates, but it does mean their name's not printed on the ballot and their name has to be written in. And they do have to receive 1,000 votes. They have to get the minimum of what signatures somebody would have to have this on the petition.
Thank you, Lisa. And that is all in statute as well.
one question for Lisa, follow-up. Do they also have to do the statement of interest that's new this year?
I'm going to say yes, they do. That's to collect signatures.
Okay.
Well, no, a write-in candidate wouldn't have to. If somebody wants to get a petition for the 2-year term and they want to collect signatures, they would need to do the statement of interest.
Okay. Somebody that wants to do the 2-year needs to follow the same exact process. It's just for
That's correct. And the petitions are different if you want to run for the 2-year term, and they will be on the website starting in the morning or sometime tomorrow. So it does state that it is the 2-year term that they're running for.
And just to reiterate, you cannot collect signatures without first filing a statement of interest. That
correct.
is a new law this year, and we want to make sure that everyone understands that component. Okay. Any other questions?
I'd love some feedback from
Absolutely.
Jared or Amy or Scott on the comment of current candidates. And we have great candidates. That's nothing to do with whether I think they should be appointed, but I'd love to hear others' thoughts on that.
Does that mean I can't apply?
You might not get selected.
Yeah.
You could resign and apply.
I don't want to discourage anybody from applying, whether they're running or not, or, this, as the mayor mentioned, this one is a little bit unique. So given the kind of the complexities of somebody having to collect signatures kind of at the last minute, I would just say everybody who has an interest in serving, apply, because that discussion's going to happen between all the varying council members, and so we might not agree on that. And so I just think, to be fair, I don't know that we can determine what the will of the council is and what the intention of, it's not going to be homogenous. So I would just say, encourage everybody who wants to apply.
One more comment towards that and towards this general thing is, assuming other council members do resign, do we anticipate, this is a question of the whole council, do we anticipate recreating this again in 2 months, or do we anticipate using these same results on future potential vacancies? And that's a question to the council that I have.
I highly recommend that we use one process, meaning that we're going to have a pool of pretty tremendous applicants. To make someone go through a public interview process twice in a very short period of time does not make sense, as far as I'm concerned. Also, recognizing that there are the potential of 2 additional vacancies, and we're not looking at months and months. This is a pretty compressed time frame. I think we would be wise to, we'll obviously be making one appointment and essentially holding on to the other 5 until we come back together for another purpose of appointing. So I do want the public to understand we're going to do one process for guaranteed 1 seat, but the potential of 3 total vacancies on our council.
So if you're hoping for a vacancy in a month or 2, you still need to apply during this process.
Correct.
We should make that as clear as possible on the website with other questions, so there's no.
Excellent. Thank you. And our clerk would be available for any, do you like how I just threw you out there? The clerk will be available to answer any questions. There's been lots of dialogue over this weekend, knowing what we were going to be doing this evening about how to manage this, and we want to make sure that we are as transparent as possible about this process. That is the nature of this council. And so both in consultation with our town attorney, our town manager, and our town clerk, we've had lots of these conversations to try to get prepared for today. Councilmember Taylor?
Mayor, thank you. Just to reinforce a couple points, I don't think we should put fences around it. We can't anyways, but I think we do need to be clear. And I was just going to make that point. And maybe as a prelude to the application, there can be a link to this discussion so people can listen to this, or maybe a brief write-up or an FAQ or something like that. I know all of us are going to get lots of questions, and my head kind of spins around, and it'd be great if we could just send a link that everyone can use, or an FAQ or something that has a lot of the details here, but also agree with kind of the waterfall approach. But if we make it really clear, this is, Councilmember Cook's position is this 9-month and potential run, and there's some people that probably would prefer that because they would probably be good for 9 months and let somebody else, take the seat. And as long as we disclose that and give them the option, maybe there's a checkbox. I'm just interested in that. Don't roll me over to the 2-year potential appointment. Maybe that could be designed in the application process. But I think overall, just the clarity of how this is going to step through the next couple months, I think will be very important for the community.
We have a brand, not to throw another link or wrinkle in this plan, we have a brand new boards and commissions software.
Oh, wow.
This is the first time we're going to be using it. It was not planned that way. It's just how timing fell. And so I think what I'll do is when I revise this document to include the things that we've discussed today, I will ask that the applicants include a second statement in addition to the 250-word statement that we recommend here, to just state what your intention is, whether you're happy to apply for both the 2.5 year appointment and or the 10-month or 9.5 month appointment, however you, if you are willing to run or not in this cycle. So I think having some clarity around that, if you can just communicate with us, we'll include that. There's no way to, at least as far as we know so far, to add anything to the board and commission software, the new stuff?
Yeah, fix it, label it.
So.
Good.
Else. Okay, I would imagine there's questions in the audience, and I'm sort of inclined to let them ask. Is that okay with everybody? If anybody wants to ask a question at this time, it's been agendized, so I guess we can have that discussion. Is there anyone out there who wants to come on up to the podium? And just state your name and your city of residence, because we have to for the record.
My name is Lawrence Passage. I'm a resident of Gilbert for the last 5 years. I'm also serving on a Citizens Transportation Committee. Do I understand that if I wanted to go for that 9-month appointment, I come to the clerk's office? Is that correct?
Yes, either the clerk's office, you can get hard copies from the clerk, or you can go directly onto our website. Either way.
I do not go onto websites. I
Then-
was in the federal government for 52 years, and part of that was finding out about software security, and I don't do that anymore.
Understood. Lisa will be your friend.
Thank you so kindly. And thank you all for letting me be on that committee, that transportation. I've had a ball.
Awesome. Any other questions from the public? We'll be available after. Lisa's available by phone, and we are all as well. So, okay. Seeing none. Clear as mud. Yeah.
Is there, I mean, communication is key here. I guess, does staff need any direction on what Gilbert Digital should do, or are we talking website or anything there? We want the water to get to the end of the row, so everyone, I don't want to hear any phone calls saying, I never heard, you know.
Yes.
And there's some people that
yes,
won't listen.
the answer is yes and yes. We've got a communications plan that has been worked on over the weekend. You didn't really give us a lot of notice, Eddie. We anticipated, but didn't feel
So they're-
comfortable
they're ready
taking.
They're ready to roll some of this
Right.
information out.
So,
Wonderful.
yes, and that's another reason why we're going to leave it open for 2 weeks. There was a request maybe that we shorten and condense this. I think 2 weeks is as short as we can go because we do still have an obligation to get the word out.
Mayor, is that 14 days or 2 business weeks, or how does that work?
It's tomorrow from 7 a.m.
Till-
or 8 a.m. What
Till
time?
March 5th.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, tomorrow's
You're
the
right.
Tomorrow's the
18th. So
19th.
2 days to March 4th.
Correct. So it's a little less than 2 weeks. 13 days.
But everybody knows as of tonight that that will be available on the 20th to start.
And applications, we cannot make exceptions. 4 p.m. is the deadline. And because we are using a new system, we've discussed today how important it will be for any applicant to just confirm with the clerk's office that all of the pieces of their application have been received. We trust, but we verify.
And that's 4 p.m. Gilbert, Arizona time. Just thought I
Arizona.
should clarify because somebody will say, was that East Coast time? West, you know.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you all.
Mayor Daniels, could we go back to 22B, which is the resolution of appreciation?
Oh, do we need to vote on that?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there a motion to give Eddie the resolution and gifts that we already gave him?
Move to approve?
Second.
Please vote. That motion, and thank you for counting that for me. 6-0 vote. Nope, I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
All right. That moves us to our board, commission, and committee reports. Are there any reports from council?
Excuse me, Mayor, do we need to approve the item that we just discussed about the process? Do we need to
It
vote on
just
that,
says a
Chris?
discussion.
Okay, thank you.
So, boards, commission, and committee reports. I did want to ask those who have been on the Land Development Code Committee. I know you guys have a pretty heavy agenda tomorrow. Is that right? Or was it today?
No, we have a meeting
Tomorrow.
tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. We've been having those 7 a.m. meetings because of Councilmember Cook, so maybe we can make our next couple a little later. I think we're very close to a ending point from our perspective,
Okay.
and I think that Councilmember Ray, we would be fine, just the two of us, to handle the rest of it, don't you think?
Yeah. I do think we can handle it. We are close, and then staff
Very
has a
close.
tremendous amount of work, and they've done a tremendous amount of work. And then it'll all come back to the council, and there'll be lots of review and discussions, and probably additional groups and subgroups to talk about that. But we've made a lot of progress. We're going to miss Eddie in that meeting.
Maybe you could still come. I don't even know. Is there a rule? Oh, you're busy. No. Okay.
He has more stuff to do.
That's right. All right. Any other boards, commission, and committee reports? Seeing none. We do have quite a few future agenda items, and I did want to make a quick statement about our financial retreat. Given some of the changes that are occurring on our council, we thought it wise to delay our council financial retreat, which is supposed to be next Thursday, the 27th. We have not announced the date for that yet, but we do anticipate that it will be in April. We also feel like it's really important for a new council member, maybe possibly new council members, to be in a position so that they can gain all of that knowledge that will occur and be part of the budget process this year, because we will vote on our budget in June. So a lot of work to be done, but we do anticipate that meeting to be the second week of April. So we will reconvene for the retreat then. Please.
Mayor, I do think that makes a lot of sense. As someone that is going to continue through this for a few months, I wouldn't mind if there's any presentations that are already prepared to send those so we can start researching and be even more prepared in April. But if that's not practical, no problem at all. But happy to take those if they're ready to go.
When I had this conversation briefly with Kelly today, and some of the other staff members, I think there was a huge sigh of relief. So I could see them being ready earlier, but not probably in the next couple weeks. Okay, we'll keep you posted on that. Report from town manager on current events.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Two quick questions. First, Citizen Cook is parked in a council-only parking space. Would you like us to have PD have his vehicle towed from that space?
Take care of it, chief.
Next, a lot of discussions about future resignations that are coming, and I'm not sure what the catalyst is, but I do look to my right at Town Attorney Chris Payne, and I realize he has a dysfunctional personality. And if it's Chris driving you all away, can we just deal with Chris and stop the flight from our council?
I don't think you want to open that.
No.
I will say the amount of interest that I've seen from the public in applying for council positions has made me think that maybe we made this look really, really fun. And we should probably make sure people, no, I'm just kidding. It has been, it is really fun.
Yeah. On a serious note, Mayor, I wanted to thank Councilman Cook for, it's coming up on 9 years now, and it has been just a great 9 years. We've accomplished a lot. We could spend all night talking about everything we've done in that period of time, and Eddie's been a big part of that. And I know I speak for all the employees with the town of Gilbert. Every issue, Eddie made sure he understood what the facts were, what the business case, what the benefit to our community was, and educate himself before he would make a decision on that. And we greatly appreciate that, and we could not have done it without you, Eddie. So thank you on behalf of all of us, and I'm sure we'll still see you around town. And if my assessor bill goes up, I've got your personal cell phone. But thank you, Eddie. It's been fantastic, and we wish you the best of luck in your new role.
Report from council on current events. Right, and I don't have anything additional to add tonight either. So with that, meeting adjourned. Thank you.